All right, systems of equations through elimination. Right, so this method of solving a system of equations requires adding or subtracting the two equations together in order to eliminate one variable. And since you only have one left, you can solve for it, and then you'll substitute back in to get the first variable, giving you the ordered pair of x and y to solve the system of equations. Right, here's your steps. I'm not going to go over them right now because I'm going to go through them with each example. Go ahead and pause, get it written down now so that you can follow along with the examples. All right, so here we are. On the top left, here's all your steps, what to do. Here's my equation. So step one, determine if the coefficients of one of the variables add or subtract to 0. So first of all, I've got -6 and 6. If I add -6 to 6, right, I get 0. So I don't even have to do step 2. I can go ahead and skip to step 3. So step 3 is to add or subtract the equations together, right? -6 plus 6 equals 0. So I have plus 6 here, right? -6x plus 6x equals 0x. And then I've got 5y plus 4y is 9y. And 1 plus -10 is -9. Right? That's the only new thing. From there, solve the equation. 9y equals -9. Divide by 9, you get y equals -1. Now that we've got y equals -1, we can go back to one of those two original equations, substitute in our -1. You get 6x plus 4 times -1 equals -10. 6x minus 4 equals -10. Add 4 to both sides. 6x equals -6, so x equals -1. Our solution for step 6 is -1, -1. And don't forget step 7, substitute those points into either one of those equations and solve, right? And you can see -6 plus -4 equals -10. That's true, meaning that our solution from step 6 is correct, right? Next equation, right? We've got 7x plus 2y equals 24 and 8x plus 2y equals 30, right? This time, if you look, I've got 2y and I've got 2y. 2 minus 2 is 0. So instead of solving for x this time, we're going to eliminate, well, we're going to solve for x, but we're going to eliminate our y's as our variables. So we can skip step 2 because it's even. But this time we're going to subtract 7x minus 8x, 2y minus 2y, and 24 minus 30, leaving us with -1x plus no y's equals -6. That's our equation. We divide by -1, and you get x equals 6 for step 4. Step 5, we're going to take that 6, substitute it back into an equation. We get 7 times 6 plus 2y equals 24. 42 plus 2y equals 24. We got to subtract 42 from both sides. 2y equals -18. Divide by 2, y equals -9. So our solution for this system of equations is 6, -9. And substitute that back into the equation to get 48 minus 18 equals 30. That is true, meaning that our solution from step 6 is correct. Okay, so these past two examples, these are the easy examples where you don't have to go through step 2. This one's not so easy, right? None of our coefficients on either variable match up, right? 16x plus -8x equals 8x. It doesn't equal 0, so we got to go to step 2, right? We need to multiply one of these two equations all the way through so that the coefficients match up and they'll add to 0. In this case, we're going to multiply the second equation by 2, each factor, giving us -16x minus 12y equals 12. That's multiplying each one of these parts by 2. And now we can add the two equations together. 16x minus 10y equals 10. And -16x minus 12y equals 12. 16x plus -16x is 0. -10 plus -12 is -22. And 10 plus 12 is 22. Leaving us with -22y equals 22. Divide by -22, leaving us with y equals -1. We take that -1, substitute it back into another equation, giving us 16x plus 10 equals 10. Subtract 10 from both sides. We get 16x equals 0. Divide by 16, x equals 0. Step 6, we get the points 0, -1. Substitute those into the equation. Right? We end up with 0 plus 6 equals 6, which is true, meaning that our solution from step 6 is correct. Last example, right? Step 1, none of our coefficients match up. Okay. So the first thing we're going to have to do is multiply one of our equations all the way through to get them to match up. Now, you could have multiplied by 3 to get your y's match up. I chose to multiply by 4 to get my x's to match up. Right? This whole thing times 4 would give me 4x minus 12y equals -24. That's the entire equation times 4. And now we add the two together, because -4x plus 4x is 0x. 9y plus -12y would be -3y, and 9 plus -24 is -15. Step 4, we got -3y equals -15. Divide everything by -3. You get y equals 5. We're going to take that 5, substitute it back into an equation to get x minus 15 equals -6. Right? That's the second equation. Right? Add 15 to both sides, x equals 9. Our solution is therefore going to be 9, 5, and we substitute that back into one of the equations. We get -36 plus 45 equals 9. That's true, which means number 6 is correct. Right, so that's just 4 quick examples for elimination. The first 2 is where you don't even have to do any multiplying. It's going to go pretty quick. And then the second 2, you have to make a judgment call on what you want to multiply it by, and if you add or subtract your 2 equations to get one of your variables to equal 0. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That's about all.